It's Monday, November 14th, 2022, and this is episode 270 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
So we're recording a little early here. We want to keep our schedule of releasing episodes the same. But if we were to record on that same schedule, we'd be recording right in the middle of our trip to Diamond Joe Worth. So we decided, well, we'll just record a little earlier, release on our regular day, and then, it doesn't mess anybody's schedule up. But what that means is we're actually recording, obviously, before our trip to Diamond Joe Worth and before Election Day. So when we're recording this, we don't know the results of the California sports betting propositions. So we will talk about those and our trip to Iowa on our next episode, which should drop on the Monday after Thanksgiving. Sound good, Dr. Mike?
Sounds good. You want my prediction for both of those things?
Yes, please.
All right. My prediction is pain.
For both things. So the propositions and for our trip?
Yeah. Remember from Rocky 3 when they asked Clubber Lang?
Yeah, that's
what's your prediction on the fight? And he just said, pain.
All right. Well, let's hope that the pain on our trip is just the temperatures, which are going to be what, in the 30s and 40s, I guess. Or actually,
no, I don't think it's going to get to 40.
Yeah, okay.
I think the high over there is going to be like 35.
All right, so let's hope that is the pain, and it's not the pain at the tables.
No, those are going to be hot. Mark, I got about 10 hand warmers ready. Anyone has a hot roll, I'm going to give them a hand warmer. Keep their hands warm till the next roll.
All right, perfect. Well, then let's go ahead and get on with the show. So again, as we're recording early here, we don't have a lot of material since the last time we recorded. But wow, we got a lot of voicemails. So why don't we just jump into that, Mike? Let's hear some
Sounds
voicemails.
Good. Yep.
All right, good. First up is Paul.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Paul from the Bay Area. I've been listening to your podcast for a while and really enjoy it. Caught up with you guys about a year ago and have been making my way back through some of your older episodes, which I really enjoy. I've also been sharing your podcast with my wife, and she really enjoys listening to it. I've been trying to get her into craps. I haven't been able to do that yet, but hope to soon. But she likes listening to you guys, enjoys the banter, and has compared you guys affectionately to Frickin' Frack, the car guys on the old NPR show, which I thought was a really funny comparison. Wanted to share with you guys that I listened to one of your episodes around episode 150, and we were talking about whether different blackjack tables at different casinos will show the burn card on a new shuffle. And one of the casinos in the Bay Area here, instead of taking one card off the top and either showing it or not showing it, it will actually show the top card, and then depending on what the number is, will then burn that number of cards. So for instance, if it is an 8 that is the first burn card, they will then count out 8 more cards, show them all face up, and then put them all into the discard tray. So I thought that was really interesting and didn't know if you had ever heard of that. It's a local card room here in the Bay Area. Also, I know, Mark, you're really into Omaha High-Low. It's a game I enjoy to play, although I don't do it too often, as a Hold'em is my main game. But I was playing at a different card room here in the Bay Area and got into a hand where I ended up I had the nut high and the nut low draw. I believe my hand was ace, king, 2, 5, and I had a double suited in there. And I was involved with some very aggressive players. There was some very high betting, and we got down to the end, and on the river, it actually checked around, and the first player showed his hand and didn't have anything, and I kind of sheepishly turned over my hand and said, well, I ended up with a pair of 5s, and the last player kind of disgustedly threw his hands in the muck. So after all that, I ended up with a very large pot of about $400, all with a pair of 5s. So I thought that was kind of funny off of an Omaha high-low hand. Really enjoy your show, you guys. Keep up the good work, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, it is rare that a pair of fives will scoop a pot in Omaha high-low.
In Omaha.
Yeah. Gosh, all that
well,
action. Geez, and then, that's how it turned. I mean, I've seen it before in our home game. Every once in a while, it's like, oh, well, everybody, they were all on draws, and nobody got there, and nobody had pairs. I've seen it before. I will say, though, that at the World Series of Poker, when I played in that Omaha high-low game, the players were so much tighter than other games that I've played in that come showdown, they were kind of lower hands. You wouldn't be surprised to see something like that winning. But yeah, at a typical casino, when I play just a regular cash game at a casino, almost everyone calls before pre-flop, and certainly in our home game, that's the way it is.
Right. And, this brings up a good point. Remember this hand when you have a great hand and you get beat.
Yeah, the other side. Right.
The other side, right? People always say, oh, what a terrible beat. Well, how many times have you had nothing and lucked into a win?
Remember this one, yeah. So it kind of psychologically counterpoints, those times where you got sucked out on. Yeah.
Right.
We have seen that situation where they will take the top card off the deck after a shuffle and say it's an 8 and then burn that many cards. You've seen that, haven't you, Mike?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
We don't see it too often, but yeah, we have seen it before. Now,
I mean, I don't understand the reasoning behind it, but
who knows? It makes it more random.
It might make it more fun for somebody like, oh, are they going to burn 2 or 3? Or I don't know.
I guess. It'd be nice if it was a side bet you could make.
Yeah, right.
But I don't know. I'm trying to remember when we have seen that, if they have exposed all the cards that they burn. I don't remember that.
No, I know that when I saw it, I can remember they didn't expose any of them.
Other than the first one, obviously.
Other than the first one, yeah. And then they just burned that many.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, I mean, I don't know if you're a card counter. That's nice. You get to see some cards off the top right there before anything happens.
Yeah, you might be in a positive situation right off the bat, right?
That's right. It's single deck. They end up burning 10 cards. Sorry, folks, we're going to have to shuffle again. Yeah, Paul, your wife is not the first person who has compared us to the Car Talk guys at the NPR show. No. I guess we'll take that as a compliment. They seem like jovial, good-natured guys.
Yeah, and they're good. My wife listened to them for years.
Yeah.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
It's better than, I don't know, Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now. I guess I'd be Hardy. You'd be Stan Laurel.
I'd be Stan Laurel.
Because I'd always be getting mad at you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And I'd always be doing something stupid.
Yeah, there you go. I think we've hit upon it. All right. Next call.
Hey there, Mark and Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike, just want to say glad to see that you're getting settled in, and just want to say thank you to both of you guys for continuing to do the show, over a long distance. It's probably a lot more difficult, so just want to say thank you. Before I get into my call, I did want to say I am a lifelong Dodgers fan. Please don't hang up. And I just want to say congrats to the Padres. But it was just great to see the stadium lit up. The crowd was going crazy, and they're going crazy against the Phillies. And it's nice to see that environment. And I hope you guys win it all since you put us out. Anyway, I recently went on Royal Caribbean Independence of the Seas, so I wanted to do a trip report. I'd never really gambled before on a cruise ship that size like that. Most everything was a $10 table, $5 roulette, $10 for blackjack, but it was 6 to 5, so I didn't play. I will say I got my first ever hand pay on slots, and 2 slot machines kept paying out. Ended up paying for almost half the trip. And I'm going to put my 10 full conspiracy hat on here. It's all the same slot machine give 3 other hand pays over the course of the week. And while I was sitting at the Ultimate Texas Hold'em table, of course, single deck, but it was a hand dealer shuffle, so there was no auto shuffler. I lost the first 4 hands. 2 other people left, and it was just me and the dealer. Won the next hand, tipped him. Won the next hand, tipped him. Started playing more money, tipped him more, and he said, I'm about to leave, and so I bet bigger. And the last hand, he turned over the 3 community cards, and I looked, and I had already had a full house. And then as he was flipping over the next 2 cards, he says, oh, yeah, you got me because you got a full house. Didn't say a word. So I'm not saying that the cruise ships are on different rules, but I'm just saying that every time I tipped him, I won. But I guess I would like to ask one last question is, what kind of rules do cruise ships have to follow versus Vegas? Because I'm sure they don't have the same restrictions or possibly, the same governing body that Vegas has. So if you could shed any light on that, that'd be appreciated. But overall, it was a great time. The craps table, I didn't spend much time on it. They had no, fire bets, no all small tall, nothing like that, just a standard $10 table. But I appreciate everything you guys do, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Thanks.
what casino laws do the cruise ships have to follow? Well, they do have to follow the laws of the country that the ship is registered
In, right.
That's
Yep.
number one.
Yeah.
Number two, I believe there's a 12-mile limit. If the ship is within 12 miles of a certain country, they have to abide by those laws as well. So that's why you'll see a lot of cruise ships, they won't open their casino until they're, out to sea, far enough away from places. At that point, I don't want to say it's the Wild West, but you're probably going to get a lot of different opinions. And, if you had an issue on the ship, it's not like you could call gaming and they show up in a little dinghy and get on board the ship and figure out what's going on and then sail away again. So, I guess just beware when you're on these ships. Who knows what might happen? But supposedly they're supposed to follow their laws, and if you had an issue, maybe when you got back from your cruise, you could file a complaint. But this is good news from BT. He got a hand pay on the slots. He was getting paid on Ultimate Texas Hold'em. I guess what I would say is that if you're really concerned about maybe a cruise not being on the up and up when it comes to their casino, play craps. Because there's not much they can do in craps. I guess they could introduce loaded dice, but they wouldn't want to because you could take advantage of loaded dice, right? Something like that. When it comes to like the card games, are they taking certain cards out of the deck? There's no way really for you to know, at least, when you initially sit down. And I'm not claiming cruise ships are doing this, right? They're going to make money anyway.
Right.
But
I don't think they're worried about it.
Yeah. So, to get back to BT's question, it's going to depend on a lot of factors. And, we're not lawyers, so that's our uneducated answer.
My brother is currently on a cruise, Mark. He just got on the ship last night.
Okay.
In Spain, and he's cruising to Rome, I believe.
Oh, wow. Nice.
It was a free trip from a casino. Yeah, he had paid nothing for this cruise.
Yeah.
Just whatever expenses he incurs on the cruise. Yeah. We'll see how Christopher does. Last time he won, he did one to Alaska like a month ago. And he won on that cruise. So it's always nice. You go on a cruise, you win some money, and, you get half of it paid for. Awesome.
That's right. What other hobby can you think of where you actually have more money at the end of the hobby than before the hobby?
Yeah. None.
None. There are none others.
There are none others.
You have the risk of having way less money, too.
Right. I can't think of any. Can you?
Well,
that's why gambling's so great.
If your hobby is to make stuff and sell stuff, well, okay, I guess that,
maybe,
that would be so.
That's more like a business, though, right?
Yes, right. All right, last we heard from Melanie. She was in Vietnam checking out the casinos. Let's hear from her again towards the end of her trip.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Dr. Mike. This is Melanie calling you from Taipei, Taiwan. On my way back home after an excellent month-long venture in Southeast Asia, I did manage to get to one more casino. This one was up in Hanoi, which is the north part of Vietnam. The one I called in before, that's in Hoi An, which is in the central Vietnam. It's a much bigger, busier city. Anyway, went to Stardust e-casino. I walked over and it said on the map it should be right here, and I couldn't find it. It's not marked at all. Like, it's the polar opposite of a big marquee flashing. There's no sign whatsoever. I finally went into a nice hotel and asked someone, like, it says there's a casino here, and she walked me over to the corner, and there in the corner, tucked away, it said Stardust, second floor. So I went to the Stardust, and it was small, not nearly as friendly as the one in Hoi An. It's certainly not as nice. No table games were happening. No promos for signing up like the other one did in Hoi An. So, played a little bit. I won $42. Hit a big bonus on Kitty Glitter right when I sat down for spin. So, I played a couple other, kind of generic slot machines before that. There really weren't any choices besides that. I guess there was a roulette table that was electronic, and no table games were one. Looks like they might have them on offer, but it was very small. Wasn't nearly as friendly or nice as the other one, but it was fun to experience it. So how could I not, with it being called the Stardust? Headed to Vegas. Let's see. It is Monday night here in Taiwan. It's Tuesday the 26th tomorrow in the States. And believe it or not, I'm headed to Vegas on Saturday. So, yeah, talk about reverse culture shock. I'll try and call in with a Las Vegas casino report if I have any brain cells still working. All right. Thanks again for the company from 8,000 miles away.
Wow, Melanie, she just doesn't stop.
No.
That's great.
She's on fire. I love it.
Yeah, this place that she went to, Stardust E-Gaming Club. So, yeah, it's just all electronic. So, yeah, of course, that's not going to be as nice as a full-blown casino. But if you got to scratch an itch, there you go.
It's a little disappointing. I've been in that situation where I went in somewhere and I thought, oh, a casino. And then it's just like, not really.
It's just a bank of video poker, a couple of slots. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, how long am I going to sit here and do this?
Right. All right. Next call.
Hey, guys. It's Nathan from Sacramento. I'm just on my way to the airport to head to Vegas and listening to the new podcast. But I remembered on an old one I was listening to, Dr. Mike he said he wished craps was on TV or something of that sort. Well, I'm not sure if it's okay to promote something else, but there is a YouTube channel called All Casino Action, and the guy on there, his name is Victor. He plays craps about once every 2 weeks, and it's kind of entertaining. He plays $10 come bets with 10 times odds, so $100 odds, and he won't deviate that because he said it's the best odds. However, it's kind of funny that he plays high-low, field, hard ways. I mean, I play those too, but I'm not saying that I only play the come bets for, house edge reasons. But once again, All Casino Action, and he plays every night a table game, but craps is a little harder to film, so it's a little rare. But just want to let you guys know. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, you go onto YouTube, you can find a lot of channels where people are playing craps in a real casino. There are tons where they're doing it just at home or showing you systems, that kind of thing. But you can find some where they're actually in the casinos. The nice thing about this channel, the All Casino Action channel that Nathan's talking about, is Victor obviously has a deal with El Cortez in Las Vegas, and he's got a couple of cameras that he uses to show the action. One is kind of an overhead that shows all the bets that he's making, and then the other one shows the result of the roll of the dice. Yeah, it's not bad, and it shows real craps table, real casino.
And you have volume, voice.
Oh, yeah. He's talking about everything that he's doing, what I'm going to, I'm going to do this. Oh, give me the all tall small. I think I'm going to do the field this time. Oh, yeah. It's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
can you hear other people?
Well, in the cases that I saw, it looks like he's really the only one at the table, or he's with a friend or something. So he's probably mic'd so that you wouldn't hear, the other conversations or even the dealers really talking. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be more interested if you could hear the whole table. Well, I would love that.
That kind of becomes a cacophony, though, if you're trying to keep track of who's saying what, especially if there's only just an overhead camera. It'd be one thing if, there was a cameraman moving around and focusing on everybody when they talk. But, yeah. All right, next up is Julia.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Julia from the Pacific Northwest. It's been a while since I called, and I got behind on the podcast, so I was surprised at Dr. Mike's move. Enjoyed the report on his road trip to his new home state, and looking forward to hearing casino reports about Midwest casinos. I just have a tiny trip report. Back in March, I was finally able to fulfill my promise to my eldest kiddo to take them to Las Vegas for their 21st birthday. Of course, because of the pandemic, my kiddo was 22 when we finally made it happen, but no worries. They were coming from D.C., where they're going to college, and I was coming from the Northwest, so we met up at the airport and got ourselves a cab to Park MGM, which is my favorite place to stay. Started out with some bar top video poker, and my kiddo got a free special shot from the bartender who wished them a happy birthday. Among other things, we played blackjack and craps at Ellis Island. Went back twice for the craps, which my kid enjoyed. We played live poker at Bally's. That was a big first for me, and I was super nervous. But that was the thing that my kid really wanted to do, so we made it happen. And it was actually pretty fun. We also had went to see a show. We saw the Matt King show. He's moved over to Excalibur from Harrah's. His show is just as good, always a good one for laughs and inexpensive. I was disappointed that my kids didn't enjoy video poker as much as me, but their enjoyment of craps certainly made up for it. The only tiny downside was that we had kind of a rude bartender at Caesars, and that's just another reason not to go back to Caesars. It's not been a good experience for me in general. Love the show, as always, and thanks for your recommendation of the Crap Vegas podcast. Those guys are fun to listen to. Take care.
All right, great. Thanks for the report, Julia. Glad you two had a good time.
Well, except for that snotty bartender. Why would they be rude?
It's like the rude dealer at Foxwoods that we heard about last time, right?
Right.
Just who knows how their day is going, how their personality is set up. Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't enjoy video poker more, but it is kind of a solo event, you know?
Yeah.
It takes a certain kind of person to sit at a video poker for a while.
Personality, and it can become repetitive, obviously. You know, if you are following a basic strategy or pretty close to a basic strategy. I like doing it every once in a while, even not just for free play, but I'll be in Vegas just to kind of take a break. It's actually kind of relaxing. You know, you can play at your own pace.
It's a cool down period.
Yeah, for me anyway, yeah. I know people, that's their main source of gambling entertainment, yeah, but that's a good way to put it. For us, it's a cool down period.
It's a cool down period. It's like halftime at a game where you can just relax and not have to be frustrated and on the edge of your seat. You get 12 minutes for that, and then you're back at it.
That's right. And then, you know, Derek Stevens is over your shoulder saying, it's okay, you know, we'll come back and get him in the second half.
Yeah, right.
All right. Next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Ann from Portland. I've been meaning to call and tell you about a trip we took back in August where we had some pretty great gambling experiences. We played a lot at Excalibur. $10 tables were the norms on weekday mornings in the summertime. We did encounter one morning where the table was 15, but it was empty. So we asked if they could drop it to 10 for us, and they said yes, which was awesome.
Good.
Another morning we got grandfathered in where we started out at a $10 table, and when it went up to 15, they let that stay. So really love playing craps at Excalibur for those reasons. We also tried the new stadium craps up at Planet Hollywood where everybody has their own console, but you get to get up and actually throw the dice. We found $5 craps there in the evenings during the week at Planet Hollywood, and we really enjoyed ourselves. It's something that we definitely would consider doing again in the evenings once table minimums have gone beyond where we are comfortable as very low rollers. Probably the two most things that stood out to me on this trip was I had one experience where I was the shooter, and the next thing I know, this guy is standing behind me and talking to his buddy about how the game is played, and he keeps saying the number that shall not be named over and over again. And I finally had to turn around and say to the guy, could you please go explain the game somewhere else? Which felt a little awkward telling somebody to do that, but at the same time, I am a little superstitious when it comes to what is being said at the craps table. So he very quickly was apologetic and moved on to the side. Our biggest day, though, was on, I think, our second full day of gambling. My husband was down from his regular bankroll a bit, so he was only planning to play $50 at a $10 table, and I came with $200. And the energy at the table when we started was really poor. There were rookie dealers, and there were just some players at the table who were not being very patient and kind to them, which really set a negative tone. But we really wanted to play, so we stuck it out. Negative guys finally left, and lo and behold, the table goes on a run. We had 3 shooters, including myself, who had the dice collectively for an hour and a half. My husband walked away up $800, and I walked away up $700. And it was just made our whole trip. We are headed back again Veterans Day weekend while you all are in Iowa. Can't wait to hear all about your trip and hope we have some stories to tell. Thanks for the show. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Ann. Good.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds like
Yeah.
a great trip. I love how even in her phone call, Ann won't say 7. She still says the number that shall
number.
not be named. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Well, maybe she's eliminated that from her vocabulary, Mark.
It's not a bad idea because then you won't, inadvertently say it at the craps table, right? If
You just forget that ever existed.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10.
Well, 6 is the highest number we've determined on a previous
we've
episode.
determined
So,
that.
you say 7. What is that? I don't even understand that concept.
There's no such thing.
What?
Excalibur is one of those places. I haven't been there in, years, Mark.
Yeah.
When was the last time I was Excalibur? Like over 20 years ago?
Gosh, Mike, it might be. One reason is we just don't get down to the south side of the strip too often.
Right.
And when we do, it's just Mandalay Bay or MGM. We just don't get over there. Yeah.
What's funny, though? I've always kind of enjoyed Excalibur. I know people talk weird stuff about it, but I have enjoyed playing craps there.
Oh, yeah. And we keep hearing from people about how, at least as far as the strip goes, that's where you're more likely to find low minimums.
Right.
And things like that. So, well, I'm glad you had good things to say about Excalibur because so does our next caller, Nick.
No, great.
Hi, this is Nick in Kalamazoo. Just wanted to give you a quick trip report information status of a Vegas trip that we took recently. We were there for 10 days. We spent 4 nights at the Excalibur, which is a place that I always wanted to stay. We had a suite. It was up on the top. And actually, I know a lot of people give it a bad name, but our room was clean. It was a little bit dated, but I don't really care about that. It had a hot tub that we were looking for, and it was quiet, strangely quiet. Like I expected to be kids running down the hall, trouble getting to the elevator. It was awesome. Plenty of food, plenty of close places for us to walk. It was a great stay. Super happy about it. We moved over to Sam's Town. I know a lot of people talk about who comes to Vegas to go off strip. We're one of those people. We really like to be off strip and actually get to the locals places. The strip is fine, but it's overpriced. It's bad for gamblers. It gives you really bad odds. It's fine if you want to go blow a bunch of money. But in my opinion, it's like going to New York City and going to Times Square. That's not really New York City. That's touristy New York City. Sam's Town was great. They have the hotel and they have the RV park. We went over and did our laundry. We got some food, local place, so everything was $10. Hit a straight flush on Ultimate Texas Hold'em, so that was a nice night we had there. Had a really good time there and spent our last 4 nights at the Delano, which is my wife's favorite place to stay, being right there by Mandalay Bay. It doesn't have a casino attached. It's non-smoking, fairly quiet, really nice rooms. We really love it. We played a lot of Pai Gow on the trip. Mandalay Bay was $25 most of the time. It went up to $50 after I bought in one night, but they let me stay at $25. I was by far the small fish at the table, but had a really good time. We saw it at Bellagio for $100 on a Wednesday night. That's nuts. I'm not interested in that at all. Cannery has it for $5, so we played a whole lot of $5 Pai Gow and had a really good time. And then we made our way out to Rampart, which I think is a great casino. I think more people should travel out there. Nice golf course, nice dealers, really good buffet, just a nice chill place. We played Pai Gow there forever. $10 tables all the time. They have 3 or 4 Pai Gow tables. I hit a Royal Flush there, which I've never hit on Pai Gow. I never hit more than quad, so that was awesome. I think with the progressive, it was $1,400, something like that. Got to play Baccarat for the first time. You get to bend the cards there. That was kind of fun. Didn't do so well, but had a really good time. Normally, I would tell you about all these cool crap stories, but I don't really have much. But the only thing I'll say is that recently Mark was talking about how turning off his bets at the right time paid off, and I'm not someone that ever turns off my bet. I don't believe in the superstitions. I usually don't care if a dice goes off the table. I tell them, just drop me one out of the bowl. They're all the same. On a really long roll where I'm doing well, I will get the same die just because I think everybody else likes it that way. But ended up at Park MGM on a weeknight, got my chips back, and I had all green, and I was confused because I only bought it for $300 and realized it was a $25 table, but I didn't want to walk away and be a noob, so I decided to stay. Just placed the 5, 6, and 8. Need to hit 3 hits really to break even. I think she hit a couple, and she hit all of the small or the tall. It doesn't matter. And there was a lot of anger and confusion. One person wasn't on it, but they were on the other 2. The payouts everyone was getting angry about. So I just said, turn my bets off. This is just getting crazy. I don't like the vibes. And everybody else on the side of my table is like, yeah, let's turn them off. So then I swear she's looking right at me, hits the 5, hits the 6, hits the 8. And I was like, you know what? As soon as I turn my bets off, the 7 will happen. So I just said, take me down. And she had a really good roll, and I collared up and walked away. I've now played at a $25 table. That's enough to me. So what I'll say is, you guys talked about the strip. You talked about off strip. There's so much good gambling, good places, good local places to go off strip if you want to go. You can even go downtown during the week. Downtown Grand, $5 craps. Cannery, Jerry's Nugget, $5 craps. Ellis Island, $5 craps. You can find lower limits if you're willing to walk a block or you're willing to take a short cab ride. You'll get treated better. Your odds will pay better. You get paid 3-2 blackjack at most places. I think it's worth it. But by all means, stay where you want, eat where you want. It's your money. I appreciate all of you guys' time. Thank you so much for all that you do. Have a good time. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Nick. Great trip report and great advice, right? If you want to stay at the Strip, by all means, the Strip's fantastic. Go for it. It's quite an experience. But if you're looking for your gambling dollars to maybe go a little further, lower limits, better rules, don't be afraid to go off Strip.
And, some people don't like touristy areas. They like to see the real side of things. So whether it's Vegas or anywhere, they'll look for like a local pub so you can meet the real people, right?
Yeah.
Because when you go to where the tourists are, you're meeting other tourists and prices are jacked up. So it depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
Now, for me, going to somewhere like Ellis Island, that's fun. It's quaint and everything, but it's always very crowded and the limits are low. So I'm looking for higher limits and, a little more space.
Yeah.
So that's why like someplace like Bellagio.
Well, and if you say, Mike, decided, okay, I want to go off strip somewhere, Ellis Island maybe is not the greatest example because it's so close to the strip, right? So, a lot of people are just walking over there from the strip. But, if you go to Boulder Highway, you'll find a lot more local casinos, things like that. That's where you'll find, maybe some places that you, Dr. Mike, would like because you've got some room. And
like Red Rock. Go out to Red Rock.
Yeah, something like that.
Casino, something like that. Or even South Point, someplace like that, right?
Right.
So there's room and higher limits. And the bottom line is there's something for everybody.
Correct.
And that's the way it should be.
Yes, you got it, Dr. Mike. All right, next call.
Hi, this is Logan from Hawaii with a trip report. I was at the Palazzo in Craft, and this one guy next to me was the shooter. He had 555 ATS. He had every number except 2 and 12. So he rolled about 45 minutes. His 6 and 8 and 5 and 9 were pressed about 240 for 6 and 8 and about 275 for a 5 and 9. As the roll got longer, the shooter was saying, come on 2, come on 12. He was more concerned about winning $5 bet at 31 odds on the all tall or all small. And I was looking at him and I was trying to explain to him, you have 200 plus on the inside numbers. Any of those hit, you're going to get paid more than all tall or all small. And I've been noticing that I've been playing a lot more bingo if the crap tables are getting cold. Just to take a break, reset the feeling of playing dice. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to step away from the table if things are going badly, just emotionally. It's not like, you step away, you go back, and the luck is going to be any better, if you want to call it luck. But, you have a chance to kind of clear your head. You're less likely to go on tilt and maybe make some bets that you shouldn't be making, spending too much money, that kind of thing. And you start fresh at another table. So, yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah, you take a time out.
Yeah.
You just take a time out and regroup.
Mike, I'm sure you've been in a situation where you've got some place bet or something up so high that you're going to get paid more money on that place bet than on the all tall small. Is that true?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a bit, especially at a place like here at Diamond Joe Worth.
Right, where it's a $10 max on the
$10 max on that bet. And, you can get your other bets up way high. I mean, I had plenty of times where, I would get paid $2,000 on a bet.
But you're still rooting for that. That side bet is still exciting. And maybe there are other players at the table, too, who will win.
Well,
and
that's
the dealers.
What Logan's forgetting. It's not about how much money you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that you hit it, the pride saying, I hit it.
Yeah.
I made that.
Yeah.
It's like playing poker with your buddies. You like all your friends and everything, but when it comes to poker, you want their money. Right?
I guess your
you know,
analogies are kind of flying all
You know,
over.
it's kind of like the pride of being the big winner, right?
Oh, okay, sure. It's a matter of pride, is what you're saying.
It's a matter of pride, is
Okay.
what I'm saying. Yeah, it's not like you want their money. It's like winning their money. You're proving that you're a good poker player.
You have dominated them.
You have dominated it. Yeah, that time you wanted to be called the Dominator. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
That was your nickname.
That was the
I'm
Dominator. Yeah, I think I drove everybody insane that night. Paul's dad in particular was like,
yeah. You kept saying Dominator. That is a great name, though. If you're gambling, if your name's the Dominator, I mean, come on.
Yeah, so Mark the Dominator Duvall. Hi.
Yeah, the Dominator. Hi. Can I get you anything?
Can I get you anything? Yeah.
Can I get you anything? Mark the Dominator. Yeah, it's a matter of pride. So I'm always rooting to hit that all tall, all small.
Sure.
So what if you're only going to get $350 on the small or something? Yeah, but I did it.
Yeah, sure.
Plus, you can yell real loud when you get it.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole casino turns and looks. Oh, they hit the all? Yeah, they know.
Yeah. It's not the same effect when you're the only one on a 5 and a 5 comes up and you scream real loud. Right. Like, what's that idiot's doing over there?
All right. One last call. Let's hear from Big Lair.
Hi, Mark. Dr. Mike. This is Big Lair from Rochester, Minnesota calling. Listen to your recent podcast. You mentioned a reference in blackjack as the 17 as being a mother-in-law. Well, years ago, I was at a blackjack table and an older blackjack dealer referred to it as a mother-in-law, and I asked him, well, why do you call it that? And he said, well, you'd like to hit it, but you know you can't. So that was his explanation for the 17. Also, you mentioned, one of your callers mentioned about playing craps downtown Grand, the $5 craps tables. I was there last week with a friend of mine. We walked in about 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening, and there were 2 $5 tables open on a weekend. We both immediately bought in at a table and spent the next 3.5 hours thoroughly enjoying ourselves. About 7 o'clock in the evening, they raised the minimums to $10, but they graciously grandfathered everyone at the table for a $5 minimum, which I thought was pretty nice. The dealers were good, friendly. The boxman was actually very nice and helpful. And as an added bonus, we walked away, each of us, with a couple of $100 up. So, good time. I would recommend anyone that wants to seek out a $5 table to check out the Downtown Grand. Actually, I'm leaving in a couple of hours back to Vegas to hang out with your friends Dave and Julie from San Diego. That ought to be a good time. I enjoy those people. Also, looking forward to next Friday and Saturday at Diamond Joe's. I certainly will be there for that. That ought to be a pretty good time. So until then, thanks a lot. Enjoy your podcast. We'll see you next week. Bye now.
Good. Thanks, Big Larry. I still have not met him. You've played with him before, so it'll be the first
met
time.
Him,
Meeting him, so that's good.
Yeah, nice guy, and I hope he has fun with Dave and Julie.
Yeah.
I should have called them and pressured them to come out here for this.
Yeah, really. Well, you still could, I guess.
I guess I could, but I don't know if it's kind of a trek from San Diego, but they do have weekends off.
Yeah, really. I'm glad to hear Big Lair talking about being grandfathered in at the tables, and we heard a previous call, too, about being grandfathered in. A lot of casinos have stopped doing that. You know, they raise the limit at a table, and everybody's got to start playing that limit. So I'm glad to hear that some grandfathering is still taking place.
Yeah, and you know what we should do, Mark, one time? We should go over, in our opinion, casinos where we've always gotten good customer service.
Yeah,
and then maybe a few that we didn't always get good customer service. Since we're not affiliated with any casino, we can say whatever we want.
Yeah, start ranking them. That's a good idea.
Yeah, start our personal ranking list of good customer service, ideal conditions, whatever.
Yeah. We actually got quite a few responses from listeners talking about the deeply disturbing reason that Hard 17 is called the mother-in-law, because you want to hit it, but you can't.
You can't.
Yeah, we had never heard that before, so very good.
That might be something to do with what we think of our mother-in-laws, Mark.
Yeah, we had good mother-in-laws. So
we have good mother-in-laws, yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. Jeremy at the Color Up YouTube channel, James, and Kurt. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from BT, whom we heard from earlier. He said, spreading the love from my recent cruise winnings. Thank you guys for all that you do. So thank you, BT. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings, and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. Dr. Mike, what do you got for us?
Well, Mark, I want to let you know that we're recording this on the 6th of November, Sunday. And as of the 5th of November, 9 p.m. Central Time, I hate football.
He sent me a text yesterday after all those college games. I mean, what a day in college football, right? And your picks were not particularly good. Let's just say that.
No, let's say pathetic. Let's say beyond pathetic. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, that was something.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I just text Mark, I hate football.
All right, so 9 o'clock Saturday night, November 5th, that was when it became official that you hate football.
It became official, but it's going to end at noon Central Time here as soon as these first games
as soon as the games pick up again. All right.
Yeah, and I may not hate it so much, but man, I was so disturbed last night. It was hard to sleep.
It was bad. I looked at your picks when the first games ended. I'm looking at my phone. It's like, oh no, Dr. Mike.
Oh, no.
You were like 1-8 for the early games or something.
Oh, I won a few towards the end, but oh my God, that first morning. And I'm thinking to myself, I would have been better just to let the dog pick.
Yep,
just
probably
whenever the dog touches. Oh my God, unbelievable. At halftime of most of those morning games, the favorites were not only covering the spread, they were losing the game.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, some of them ended up eking out wins, but
and some didn't, like Alabama.
And some didn't. Yeah. Alabama. Oh, man.
It's something this year. Yep.
I'm sorry for all those Crimson Tide fans. I mean, when are they going to catch a break, Mark? those poor Crimson Tide fans.
That is true. Suffering Crimson Tide fans.
Yeah. Those of us that live in San Diego have no compassion for anyone in this country. I'll tell you that when it comes to sports.
Yeah, you got that right. All right. Anything else, Dr. Mike?
No, let's all pray for a great week. And next time you hear us, we'll have lots to talk about.
Lots to talk about. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Okay, let's thin this herd. Untucked shirt, no thank you. Born in San Diego, yikes. An adult named Todd? So this is what online dating is like?